Know where I'm going next? Stay tuned to find out. Oh, hey travelers, welcome back to the Travelingchzhed. I'm Cheesehead Girl, and if we're meeting for the first time, this channel is all about you, the independent traveler. I want to help you go on journeys like I have, by myself, planning along the way, and here I'll share all those tips and tricks that I've learned throughout my journeys around the world. Today we're going to Aruba, and I'm going to share my planning tips with you on where I'm at with planning and what I've considered and things that my husband and I have decided that were must-dos versus things that we kind of are on the fence about. So first of all, I wanted to share where I started this planning with Aruba. I usually like to go somewhere tropical once a year, and so I can lay on a beach and be a big old beach bum. We have gone to several islands throughout the Caribbean, but this time we wanted to go somewhere new, and Aruba was on the list because we hadn't been there before. And to start, we didn't know much about it. We knew what we had heard in the news. We had knew that it was a tropical destination owned by the Dutch. That's about as far as we knew. Then we started exploring, and I thought, this is a really cool place. It's so different than the other islands. It's outside the hurricane belt, and that's important because you don't want to worry about those kinds of things when you're traveling. Last year, we narrowly escaped St. Martin before Irma hit, so that hit a little too close to home for us, and this year we knew we wanted to go somewhere completely different. So Aruba it is. Now, we started by going to the usual places like TripAdvisor. Another website that was really helpful in planning for Aruba is visitaruba.com. It is really organized well. It has everything from accommodations, things to do, weather, even events that happen locally every week, but really everything that you need to know about your visit to Aruba is on there. They even have a really handy packing checklist for you to download and print off if you're the type that likes a printable version, but it's everything that you need to think about bringing to Aruba with you. So that was kind of a cool added bonus that I found on the website that is included for free that you can download and print. So definitely consider visiting visitaruba.com. I'll leave the link below in the description, but definitely check that out. It was very helpful in figuring out what to see, what to do, and getting my bearings for what I might want to do on this trip. Now, one thing with me that you need to understand is that I do have a timeshare that I trade out repeatedly to travel around the world, and it offers a lot of different destinations and great accommodations for the price. That, however, was not going to be available for this trip because we planned it a little later than we normally do. So this time we went with Airbnb. Airbnb is awesome. I highly recommend it. We've used it in several countries now to supplement our stays, and in some cases we've used it for our entire stay like we're doing this time in Aruba. Now, we looked around and we set a price point. We were going for 10 nights, and we decided that we didn't need to stay right on the beach. While I love a beach view and I love accommodations that are walking distance to the beach, I knew that the style of the accommodation and central location was going to be far more important, as well as the price per night to keep this affordable. So we're staying in Nord, and once we get there, I'll let you know how that area was, but we are only about a 10-minute walk to Palm Beach. So we are really still right in the heart of the action, even if we don't have a beach view. But our condo has, full facilities, kitchen, washer and dryer, everything like that. And it has its own pool, community pool, as well as a grilling station and everything like that. So it gives us a lot of options for how we're going to be able to eat and just relax and enjoy our visit. Now, we've done some research as well because we need to know where the grocery stores are, and I understand Ling's and Superfoods are the two big ones on the island, and we plan on shopping at both, so I'll let you know how those were. The next thing we had to decide is what were we going to be doing while we were on the island. So we started looking at different excursions and different ideas. Now, whether or not you know it, Aruba, 20% of it is a national park. And then a good portion of that national park is only accessible via a four-wheel drive vehicle. So you would need a Jeep or a UTV or ATV to access that side of the island. And we're big do-it-yourselfers. We looked into all the different guided tours that were available, even the UTV and ATV tours where you ride your own vehicle. Now, again, we don't like being tied into a tour where they take you to specific spots. You don't have the option to stay longer if you want because you have to get going with the tour. But with this, there are a few different options for you, so you just know what you're comfortable with. Option number one is to go on a Jeep safari. This is where you are riding in a vehicle and somebody else is driving, and there's usually about 10 or 12 of you on the tour. It offers you about a half day, takes you around to the most popular spots, and I believe there's a few different itineraries available. Some of them include lunch, some of them don't. You'll have to go to the different websites to see, and I'll link them below so that you can check all that out. Number two option is to go on a UTV or ATV tour where you're driving your own UTV or ATV. Most of them are, again, half day, either morning or afternoon, and you have the option of doing single rider or double rider. So if you're in a couple and you want to be together, you can do the double rider. If you don't care and you want be in control of your own little machinery there, then go ahead and do the single riders. Those, again, you're following a large group of people, usually about 10 to 12 of you, on the dirt roads, and you're following everybody along to the specific spots. The last option is to rent your own UTV or ATV or Jeep and head out on your own for the day. So we are renting a car through Yes Car Rental, who we found actually on TripAdvisor, who came highly recommended. Ricardo's been awesome with his communication up until now, and it came to find out that he also rents UTVs and ATVs for the day. So we're really excited. When we pick up the car at the airport, we're gonna talk about which day we want to do that and what the arrangements will be for getting us that UTV or ATV. Then on that day, we will have it the entire day. So we're not tied into 4 hours. We can have it for a full 8 hours, and they'll come and drop it off at our accommodation and pick it up at our accommodation. And we can go at our leisure. We can spend the entire day driving around, checking things out, going to the spots that we want to see versus what's dictated by the tours. For example, there are these caves which sound really cool in theory, but however, two things. My husband is claustrophobic and I cannot stand bats. I am terrified of bats, and the caves have bats. So guess what? We will not be going inside the caves. But if we want to drive up to them and see them from the outside, we may decide to do that just as we drive around the island and around the national park. Most of the tours will take you to those caves and then guide you through them. That wouldn't be something that either one of us would be comfortable with, so now we don't have to worry about that. Another thing is we know of 2 natural pools. There is the more popular one that everybody knows about. It's very open and it's on almost every travel video you go see. And then there's a smaller one that's a little bit more down and covered. So we want to go to both and check them both out because we think they're cool. And No Guided Tour offers both of them. We also want to take our time going to, the California Lighthouse and Dos Playas and Alta Vista. Like, there's a lot of places we want to go explore and spend time at. We want to relax. So we don't want to be feeling like we, have to get rushed from place to place. We might want to shoot some video or take pictures, things of that nature. So we want to have our time. So that's what we've decided to do. It costs about the same amount of money as a guided tour, except you have it for twice as long. Now, I will say it's highly recommended that you bring something to cover your face because it is very dusty. It is a desert, the area of the national park where you're going to be driving through. It's all dirt road and it's very dusty, so it's going to kick up in your face. You need to cover something. So we're bringing some bandanas, but I understand a lot of the companies provide them as well. So the next thing we are obviously going to be doing on Aruba is beach hopping. We are going to go to pretty much every beach that we can. We plan on going to Eagle Beach, Palm Beach, Baby Beach, there's a few more that I don't have off the top of my head, but I will give a full report of every single beach we went to, what I liked and didn't like about them, and I'll even share my absolute favorites with you when we return. So the next area that we plan to explore is we want to climb Hooiberg. So that is the tall, for lack of a better word, mountain that is kind of located in the center of the island. It is about 572 steps, don't quote me, but I'll look that up for you and let you know. But it is a hike and it is in the middle of the island. But one thing I understand is that Aruba has these great trade winds, so I'm hoping that that will cool us off along our journey. Another thing are the rock formations. There's two different ones on the island. I don't know if we'll go to both, but I understand they're pretty cool to go walk through and take pictures and everything like that. So that's something that we're looking to check out as well. Now, the day that we go to Baby Beach, we plan on spending some time in San Nicolas because that is, I guess, the second biggest city outside of Oranjestad. And we want to spend some time looking at the street art in that area. Now, I have read some things that at night, that's maybe not the best place to be. So we do plan on going during the day and getting out of there before sunset. So I'll let you know how we felt the vibe was in the area. I'll even try to shoot some live video while we're there so you get an idea of what it's like in that neighborhood. But we'll plan to go part of the day to Baby Beach and then the rest of the afternoon walking around San Nicolas to look at the artwork. Okay, so now no trip to Aruba would not be complete without the famous flamingos. Now, my husband and I have debated and gone back and forth over what we want to do about this, and it's looking more and more like we're gonna go see them. So a little background, they are on Renaissance Island, which is owned by the Marriott Renaissance Hotel. Now, if you're staying at the hotel, you have access to their private island included with your stay. We're staying in an Airbnb, therefore we do not have automatic access. Now, they do sell day passes, but I understand they're very limited and they're based on the hotel's occupancy. So it'll depend on how many people are booked in the hotel, and I believe it's if they're over 80% occupancy, they don't give any day passes. So it is very hit or miss, and you have to get there really early in the morning because availability is low. So our plan is to go the night before and find out, are they expecting to have day passes the next day? What time should we plan on arriving to get one? And then go from there. Our hopes are that we are able to get them no problem, but we just never know. Another thing is, the reason I was kind of against it is the day pass, it is a full day, it is per person. It includes a lunch as well as a beverage, as well as your transport on the little ferry boat that takes you from the actual Renaissance Hotel out to the island and then back. My downside is it's $125 per person. So that's $250 for the day to sit at the beach. Now, obviously, we're on an island already with lots of beaches, and this was my perspective. There are 6 flamingos on the island, and then you have Iguana Beach as well, where the iguanas run around and everything, but they have those everywhere as well. So I was really not sure if it was worth, if it's going to be worth the cost. That's where I'm at. I feel like it's very expensive to go out there for a day, spending $250 to go see 6 flamingos. At the same time, there is something super unique about that experience that you really don't have very many opportunities on the face of the earth to go experience that on your holiday. So we're probably going to do it, and I will obviously shoot a lot of video while we're there doing that to share with you when I return. Now, we do plan on spending time in Oranjestad and doing some shopping. We don't plan on bringing a ton of souvenirs back with us this time. We're definitely have decided that we are not bringing alcohol back with us this time, simply because it is important that we don't check a bag in. And if we're going to try to bring alcohol back, we're going to need to check a bag. So that's the plan right now. I'll follow up later and let you know if that's what occurred, but that's where we're at for now. So food, we've done some research and looking at different recommendations for where to eat, because as much as we plan to eat in most of the time, there are going to be some places that we want to go sample the local cuisine. So obviously Zeerovers has popped up at the top of the list. It seems to be recommended by everybody there. I'm not a big fried food person, but I'm going to sample it because it's fresh, local seafood. Even though it is deep fried, I think it's going to be delicious. The second place is Eduardo's. He has a little smoothie shack right on the beach. I hope I can find him. I believe he's on Palm Beach. So we're going to go try that out because he's got really, on the other side of things, a very healthy food, fruit bowls and things of that nature. So I'm excited to try that out. And then we've heard of several pancake shops in the area. I believe there's 3 main ones. I know there was Diana's was one, and then there's a couple others, and I don't know which one we'll try. We'll probably narrow it down and go by all 3 and see which one looks the best and go from there. We are also staying very close to the Oak restaurant, which I also have heard is very good, so we may sample that as well. The one thing that we're not sure about is if we plan on going sitting on the beach and having a dinner with our toes in the sand. I know there's several restaurants that offer that opportunity, and we're still looking into that, and we may take some recommendations once we're on the island. Finally, we wanted to do a sunset cruise. It was just something that was important to us that we decided it would be cool to do. Now, we had a couple different options out there for these cruises. There's actually several, but we decided we wanted something laid back, relaxing, with maybe a little bit of fun and snorkeling included, but nothing too fancy or stiff either. So there were ones that included like a full 4-course dinner that were more fancy dinner cruises. So those types we decided were out of the picture. We didn't want that kind of experience. The other end of the spectrum was the more raucous party boat, super fun. You get to see the sunset, but it's a large group of people on a bigger boat. And actually, we looked at Jolly Pirates for that. It looks like a ton of fun and something that normally I think we would be all about because, the boat swing, that you get to fly off the boat and stuff, it looks super fun. What we considered, though, is first of all, that boat has a lot more people on it. So it usually has about 40-50 people. And it is not covered at all, so there's no opportunity for shade. And we wanted to have the opportunity for sun and shade, seeing as we're likely to be in the sun quite a bit. So we decided on the Black Pearl, which seemed like a much more relaxing, low-key, some snorkeling, but not, overly crazy. And it's still a sunset cruise. So that's what we've booked, and we're really excited about it. I think it's going to be a great time. And that's what we're looking to do towards the end of our trip, actually, and kind of cap it off with that. So there are a couple of other things that I've stumbled across in my planning. One of those is that there's a Bonbini festival right in downtown Oranjestad every Tuesday. It's $10 for adults, and I believe there's a fee for children as well. But that is at 6:30 until 8 o'clock. We may go check that out. We'll just see what we're doing on those nights. And then on, I believe it's Wednesday nights, there is a Caribbean festival in San Nicolas. So we may go check that out as well. I'm not really sure. The last thing that we're looking to do, and that we normally don't do, is we're probably going to look at going to a couple happy hours, going to a couple of the bars or clubs to do some dancing and just let loose and have a little fun. We're not big drinkers, so that's not really a priority for us, but we do like to let loose and have a little fun. So we may decide to do something like that as well. So rewind, I want to talk a little bit about how far in advance we planned this trip. We planned this trip about 2.5 months in advance is when we kind of decided that this is what we were going to do. We started looking at airfare and accommodations fairly close to each other. I needed to nail down the accommodations first. Once I had those, that's when I really started looking at airfare. However, I did base the airfare around my accommodations around the airfare that I was finding. So I looked at if it was better for me to leave on a Monday, a Tuesday, whatever. And I've learned over the years, if you can be flexible with the day that you leave and the day that you return, you have a far better shot at getting a lower airfare. So consider that when you are going to your next destination. Sometimes it's cheaper to book an Airbnb for a night versus flying out on the proposed day that you need to check into your main accommodation. So I do use Skyscanner. It's a great website that kind of keeps an eye on all different flights. Biggest thing though is you need to search in private mode. If you don't do it in private mode, it will track you and it'll up your prices on your airfare every single time you check. So definitely always clear your cookies. Look at the private browser. It'll give you updates as far as airfare. But I don't just check one place. I check multiple places, including TripAdvisor, including Expedia and others. I even check directly with the websites of the airlines to see if they're offering any specials that I can take advantage of and jump in based on the dates that I'm looking for. And oftentimes the airlines are offering either the same or more discounted rates than the third-party sites. And just a little tip, some third-party sites do not allow you to earn mileage. So if you are a miles member or you are a rewards member with an airline, they may not let you count your mileage if you book through the third party. If you book directly through the airline, it will count towards your miles. Just a tip that I've learned the hard way many times over the years. So finally, there are a couple of the other animal attractions that we may consider going to. I believe there's an ostrich farm as well as a donkey farm. I'm not really too keen on going to the butterfly farm. I understand there's one of those as well. But the donkey one sounds cool. And we may decide to do that as well. But everything I've mentioned is all up in the air. We only have a few things that are 100%, which is our accommodations, our rental car, our UTV, and our Black Pearl. Everything else is kind of as we see fit. So I will let you know. I'm really excited to see how this trip goes. I'm excited to share with you all of the feedback that I'm going to be able to provide you on my choices, what we decided to do, what was a great idea and what was a bad idea. Hopefully none of my ideas were bad. But next time, Travel Nation, I would love to hear your comments below on what you thought of this travel video, what you would like me to talk about next for other places I've gone, if this was helpful, if it was not helpful at all. In any case, Travel Nation, consider subscribing to my channel, ring the bell. It helps me support and grow my channel. Give me that big thumbs up if you did like it. Always comment below. I look forward to interacting with you. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Travel Nation, follow me next time on the Traveling Cheesehead, where I recap everything about Aruba.